What's going on, everybody? So yeah, how are we doing? How are we doing? I'm gonna let some people get in here if they want to watch. But yeah, I got my stream all set up. Hopefully my webcam doesn't kind of shit the bed like it has been recently. Um, but yeah, so we are going to round up. My mic is really loud. Let me turn that down. We are going to be rounding up Blast Up in London, and then kind of going through some storylines with that, and then following that, we're going to preview Fissure Playground, um, because this is like a really important stretch of time over the course of the season. Um, the major cutoff date is October 6th, so that's less than 1 month away, which is crazy. That's already happening. Um, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, this was Blast London was essentially the final S plus tier tournament. I want to say before the major. Um, Now obviously we will have Pro League. Um,
Time to play the game.
Thank you for the follow, Cal. I finally got a fucking alert box. I don't know why it took me so long, but I did. But yeah, Blast London was essentially the last S plus tier tournament because Pro League to me feels really weird this year. Because that will be Spirit's first tournament with Tanier, and they're essentially world number 2. Then you've got G2 fighting from the group stage, Furia fighting from the group stage. Um, to me, Pro League feels like that's going to be a warm up for the major, and we can't deduce all that much from it. Like, if we go here and then we go events, we just look. We have Fissure Playground 2. This Star Ladder tournament, which means nothing. Pro League, which in fairness is pretty big. Then yeah, Pro League. Then we have Thunder Pick immediately after that, and that'll just be sort of best of the rest. Like I think Mongols will probably be the best team that attends this. Maybe G2 goes, but I don't really see any reason why. I think that Frag actually has a much uh, larger role to play for the major than Pro League does, and you have Chengdu, but at that point teams are already kind of locked in, so that's like final checkup. Yeah, and then you have the major. I will be going to this, by the way. So if you live near Philly and you want to hang out, we can go and hang out at Frag. It should be pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I just don't think that um, as many teams are gonna care as much about Pro League as they did Blast Open London, even though it did have an online group stage. So even this tournament was kind of weird. But yeah, the playoffs were they were super important for that. So yeah, I mean you had M80 in there, which is kind of surprising, instead of Falcons. FaZe, which was kind of surprising. But these 4 teams, I would say, are, you're missing Mongols, but yeah. Regardless, this season's kind of weird because it's a little more spread out, right? Like you don't have Falcons going to this event, you don't have Mongols going to this event, and Spirit bombs out of the group stage because they're a dead team. Um, so yeah, that's why I think that this event was super important because you get Vitality in a best of 5 grand finals, and you have a team that actually beats them. This was a big test for Mouse that they failed, and I'll talk about that later. FaZe finally make a playoff and then don't really do anything. So yeah, we there's a lot to talk about with this tournament.
Same.
Um, so yeah, let's get right into it. First off, just incredible from G2. Like, just this was unbelievable. Like, I was really hot on G2 going into this tournament. Um, I was not trying to self glaze, but credit where credit's due. I said that G2 were good. Did I think that they were going to beat Vitality in a best of 5? No, I did not. Um, yeah, just like what? I don't know. Out of this world. There were some signs, their map pool maybe isn't super deep. This overpass game was pretty bad. Um, I don't know why Vitality picked Dust 2 on them. That's you know, it didn't end up mattering because G2 lost on Mirage pretty hard. Um, but yeah, just unreal. All maps in the series, Mattis went crazy mode. Heavy got, a 1.2 in hard anchor rolls is like nuts. Um, Zywoo ended plus 20, but I think that if you take Mirage out, negative plus 10. So he's plus 6, plus 1, negative 5. If you take Mirage out, which was his best map, so it's not fair. But if you were to take it out, he's negative on the series. Zywoo was in fucking insane on Mirage and played great on Overpass. Everyone on Vitality played great on Overpass. I think G2 just generally fared pretty poorly on Overpass. But this round was nuts from Zywoo on Dust. Good stuff from Zywoo, but I don't know. You kind of maybe want to see a little more out of him in those moments. Like, he is the world number one for a lot of people. I think it's Donk, but for a lot of people, he's the world number one. He's opping. He probably should be putting up some better stats. Um, but that's so critical and it's so nitpicky. I think this wasn't Rops's best series. We've seen him definitely play better in grand finals. I don't know exactly. I can maybe try to sort his stats for just grand finals, but I don't want to waste like 10 minutes trying to figure that out. I don't think that this is certainly not his best grand finals. But yeah, I don't have that much to say about Vitality. Like, everyone's talking about how they're in crisis mode right now. People are Vitality fans are very worried. Look at this scroll bar, crazy. Vitality fans are pretty worried. All this. I think though that they have cemented themselves as easily a top 3 team even this season without winning a grand final, which is crazy. They still haven't played Spirit, and I think that they would beat Spirit head to head. If we just go back to Vitality's team page, they lost to Falcons in the Esports World Cup. Apparently, they were sick. I'll write that off. I don't care about EWC. I think EWC sucks. I think EWC should be taken off the calendar. But that's for political reasons, right? So that really has no bounds. They lose to the Mongols. Mongols have been knocking on the door for a very long time. That was just a good win from the Mongols. I think, Vitality was kind of hung over a little bit from the major. Same thing you could say with Cologne. Vitality goes back, absolutely crushes Mouse here. Like, it wasn't even particularly close. Like Spinks played well. Spinks is great. Spinks is super solid. Um, but like that's the one positive that you can take from Mouse. Um, this was an alarming loss, I think, but G2 were also just hot. Like they were, like they just couldn't miss. If you go and you watch that series back, I mean, there's so many moments where it's just like, okay, these guys are just on a roll, feeling themselves, hitting every shot. Is it transferable to other tournaments? Like, um, say in Chengdu, it's Vitality, G2 again, best of 5 grand finals. I think Vitality might win it. I think that this was just sort of a time and a place thing for G2. Like, they just really came together um, and played to their full potential. Um, the question for G2 going forward is, can you consistently repeat these kinds of results, right? Like, it is specifically, I think, is this a repeatable performance from Mattis? Um, I think it might be, because he's kind of going in second a lot of times. He was insane on pistol rounds. Um, like I think it is, for the most part, repeatable for Mattis. Um, but to this level, I'm I'm not so sure. Taking out Overpass, I mean, he's yeah, he's insane. Um, Heavy God, I think that this is his level. Like I think it's probably somewhat fair to expect above a 1.0 every tournament going in from this guy. Um, the reason I say that is that he's been doing this. Like this is not like a random standout tournament from him. Like he's been doing this, bro. Like here against Falcons, 1.1, highest rated on the team out of anchor positions against Falcons, one of the best teams in the world. Um, this is LAN. Heavy God, 1.10 against Spirit, best team in the world. I think this was a rough series for him. Yeah, this was a rough series, and this is why they lost to Furia 2-0, right? I think G2 picked no, Furia picked us too. G2 picked Inferno. On their pick, just didn't have the best of games. So that was how they got out of Cologne. They beat Furia earlier in the tournament. Here they lose. Oh, this is with what's his name? Hades. Yeah, but look, 1.24 against the Mongols, who are the only other team to beat Vitality. Like Heavy God, he's been doing this, bro. Um, so and you can even go back to when he was on Bet Boom, or he was on Cloud9. Sorry, on Cloud9. Like, let's go to this game against Cole. Oh, this was a horrible series from him. But in this major, Heavy God played great. Like, he played very, very well in a team that was fucked. Like, they were not really with it. Let's look at this. This is with Monacy. Not the best, but Heavy God's been doing this. He's been on that steady increase, essentially since his time at Cloud9. So I think that we can uh, expect that kind of level out of Heavy God moving forward. Mattis is a little bit more unproven, but I think that was really his coming out party, um, and that was incredible. Hunter fucking played so good, man, for IGLing. Like Hunter essentially is playing. If this would load, Hunter's essentially playing at a comparable level to when he wasn't IGLing, which actually kind of makes sense when you think about sort of how that team was organized with Nico and Snacks. Um, like, I don't think Snacks was doing a ton of calling. I think Hunter and Nico, like Snacks would maybe just like pick a play out of the playbook, and then Snacks and or then Hunter and Nico would essentially um, be the ones to um, do essentially all of the mid rounding and all of like the heavy lifting for that G2 team. If I can go here, yeah, and let's I think that this was so yeah, these are great numbers. This Mirage not good. Like obviously. But I think overall in the series this is great. Great, great, great. He played phenomenally against Furia. He played outstanding against FaZe. Played well during Spirit. And this is the decider map. I mean, he's just that guy. Like, I believe that. Yeah, I don't know that he was. Yeah, I mean, this is him not IGLing. I mean, he's essentially playing the same, um, which is great. That's exactly what you wanted with this team. Hunter retaining his individual form. Because as a player, like, he wasn't awful when he wasn't calling, but he didn't necessarily provide enough firepower to warrant him not IGLing, right? So by moving him into the IGL role and him retaining his form, you've essentially just gained a free upgrade, and now he is now what Snacks was supposed to be that whole time in G2, which is an upgrade to Hooksy in firepower, which never ended up panning out, and that team kind of um, it was doomed. It was doomed before Hooksy left because I think Nico was always moving to Falcons, but yeah, Hunter played great. Malbs just continues to be astounding. I fucking love Malbs, Dr. Malbs, bro. This guy is nuts. Just, I think that he has now found his groove as a player. I think before there was too much um, expected of him. Like he was supposed to entry and get a double and trade someone like every round, right? In the team with Hades and Snacks and Hunter and Heavy God, there was too much pressure on Malbs in that team. Now with Mattis, you have someone who can come in and trade him. So all he has to do is just be the entry guy. Um, like there's no pressure on Malbs anymore. I mean, there is like he still needs to perform, but I mean he's just out of this world good. Like this map against Spirit was nuts. He was literally unstoppable. But like look at these rating 3.0. This is and look, he's negative on this Mirage map, but ends with a 1.21 because of his fucking round swing. Like his round swing is ridiculous. Like in rounds where Malbs gets entries, G2 have to have like an 85% win rate or something like that, maybe even 90. Because G2 are also winning a lot of 4v5s as well, which is what was crazy out of this whole thing. Um, I'm not entirely sure how to check that. Um, but trust me on this one, guys. Let's see if I can actually even look this up. Stats. Is this like a team stats thing? I don't know how to check that. But trust me, like G2 are winning man disadvantage situations, which is what's incredible. Also, oh, here we go. Pistol rounds. Their pistol rounds are ridiculous. Like, and I think that this is what makes this one significant. Is I think that this is a meta changing victory. Like this will shift sort of what the game looks like for the major and going forward. Um, Time filter. Let's go last 3 months. All. Actually, let's just go last month. So these are the pistol rounds. Yeah, look at this. 60.9% pistol win rate. You have to go down to like this is the only like tier 1 team. Rooster's not tier 1, Bestio's not tier. This is like tier 2, tier 3 NA. Look at this. This is what? What is this? I don't know. It doesn't matter. 60.9% win rate on pistols in the last month. And pistols, when you win the pistol, if you win both pistols in a match, your win percentage is something like 73%. So they essentially are just shoring up. Ridiculous. Like that's so just that's out of this world. That's just like it's unbelievable. And I think that this will change the meta of the game because more teams are going to be focused on the pistol. If G2 are winning these pistol rounds at such a high clip, that myth that pistol rounds are a coin flip is dead. We like already kind of know that has been dead, but no team has like mastered the pistol round, right? G2 is starting to get there. And if you're able to win, 61% of your pistols, um, I would need to do the math. But you're essentially guaranteed a map win in every best of 3, right? And then you can play the coin flip on the decider, right? Or if you win the coin flip on map 1 or map 2 and you win the map, then you have the decider to get, your double pistol. So just crazy. I think that's meta defining. I think that's meta shifting. It's obvious that it's meta shifting. Like I'm not like this is a grass is green take. Like win your pistols and you'll win the game. But um, they're the first team to win at this high of a clip, from my understanding. Um, so yeah, and I think that is a good segue into why this team is working, and I think that's because of Saw and Hunter. I think Hunter was one of I mean, I'm not going to claim to be like some Hunter mega fan, but I really liked Hunter. I think Hunter's a super effective player. The thing with lurkers, a lot of times, is they're not going to have the best stats. Like, Rops' stats are an abnormality for the roles that he's playing, like 1.12. It's essentially Rops and Spinks. Spinks, though, is like full, like, I will bait you for the stats. He's more of that than Rops. Like there's a great demo review that Austin CS did, where he broke down what ROPS does on T-side nuke, and ROPS will die for info, but only if it's round winning info, right? Same thing with Spinks. Um, Same thing kind of with Hunter. And these players are very cerebral players, right? Which I think is why Hunter's transition into IGL makes so much sense. Um, Hunter's been calling the pistols for G2 for like 3 years or something like that, right? So he already has all this experience calling the most important round in the game. Now you hook him up with, uh, you know, now I would maybe call him um, arguably maybe the best coach in the game right now. But even before that, he was a top 5 coach, right? So you link him up with a top 5 mind in the game, and he already has all this experience with calling pistols. Um, he already has all this knowledge that he's able to bring to the table. No wonder that they're winning them at such a high clip, and no wonder that they were able to convert those pistol rounds into an insane run here at one of the top tournaments on the calendar in the year. I mean, it goes Major, Cologne, Katowice, or they just moved it to another city, but I'm going to call it Katowice. Then you have Blast Open. Um, so you're winning a top 5 big event in the year, it's no wonder. I mean, Saul already proved had an insane track record with Heroic, like building those teams from the ground up. Like Heroic had zero business being as good as they were last season, like none, zero business. That was Saul. Um, and yeah, they had Tanier, who I'm going to talk about later. But how did they find Tanier? Because of Saul, right? Like Heroic would have been nowhere near as good without Saw. So I want to give massive credit to Saw. It was funny because I think on like the trophy ceremony, Saul was actually really emotional. Um, but they just kind of were like, "Was this crazy? Coming from Heroic? Did you think you'd be able to do it? Blah blah blah." Like they didn't really like. I want to hear more um, from him and about what he thinks. I think they actually may have done an interview with him that we could watch. I saw him giving an interview. Yeah, let's just watch this.
The whole match was kind of like stale. Great final, but it should be exhausting for you. What are you feeling right now in terms of your emotions?
Yeah, it was exhausting for sure. Like I mean, first map went pretty fast, but then fully turned around in the next two, and then overtime on Inferno, and they had a match point there. So I mean, to turn it around, get it to overtime after 12-11 for them, and then on train like just get it rolling again. It was exhausting and I mean a bit of a roller coaster in a way. So happy about the win for sure.
But do you have any emotions left, like personally?
No, I mean personally I'm always kind of chill. So yeah. So I mean you always like think about what can happen and so on, but I try to keep it in the moment basically. Think about the rounds, think about things like that. So I mean training for sure, but at the same time, I mean what can I say? Just happy that we won and happy about how we performed, like the whole event.
There were a lot of things like crowd, emotions, some nerves. How's strats and plan working on such situation where some things are changing all the time? Or you're just improvising to a specific things like wondering how you're talking to your players?
Yeah, I mean as a baseline you always make a game plan of some sort, and then either you can continue with it or you might need to adjust. And then of course like individual skill comes into play always, so it's gonna be twists and turns and you need to be ready to adjust in the moment as well. And then it's gonna be about clutch situations, all sorts of small details. So I mean many things coming together will in the end get you the win, and I think this was also about small details.
So if we look at this specific game, five maps, yeah. So you think the individual moments led you to the final game?
Yeah, I believe so. Like I think we had our plans, but it's also hard to prepare for 5 maps. I think similarity for them as well. So it's gonna be like individual moments, showing team play, showing individual skill, and like let's see, Shane for example, last map, how many clutches did Heavy Guy have? Like fully carried us on the CT side, and then Matus on T side having multi kills like left and right. So these moments, of course, will win you the match, or at least can win you the match.
There were some of the leaders left. You and some players come to GT. How are you? Are you like feeling that you're in a peak performance, or you're near peak performance, or you're just adjusting so the mechanics are rolling and the fresh blood basically?
I think at the moment it's hard to say that we would be at the, like we are peak level so far, but we are such a young team in the end that it's hard to say like what's our overall peak. I do think we can still improve on many things, and we still need to work hard basically because we are such a new team and we need to show consistency in the future. So then the next events are gonna show how are we overall as a team and what's our like consistency level compared to peak level, for example. But we will see. I think still right now on our peak, but we can still improve.
What's next for G2 right now? So we will celebrate a bit, and then what's next for you guys?
I mean, next is Fissure in Serbia, and they're gonna be traveling tomorrow, and then on Tuesday we go to Serbia. So
no chance to relax.
no, there's no rest really. Like
It's rolling thing, yeah.
yeah, we can sleep on the plane a bit, and then we go again.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to pull up one round on Inferno just to kind of emphasize
They'll
the
clear
point.
this site
For it, they have to. The other thing is, if you're
and that he'll wait for his moment. He'll wait for it. Doesn't want
Goes
to
in
repeat,
overtime.
and you have to ask yourself, will G2 really get away?
respect,
And it was G2 on T side.
G2, 2 straight.
Maybe it was the round winning,
This is-
or the map winning round.
The auto guards
Absolutely.
is
The same thing.
Ooh, good thing that smoke's up, because if not,
Yeah, it's this round.
2020.
yes sir.
2020 vision.
Ooh, good thing that smoke's
Just watch
up,
the
because
calling
if
from
not,
Hunter
the CT
here,
behind it
right?
was blind as a
They're
bat,
going and
desperately
they're going to try to
jumping
take
while Mobs
brackets
is on the
control.
prowl.
This is pretty standard. Like you have car
This is
control,
that
and there
duo
you're
that
going
is
to go back,
supposed to
take
be a
brackets
world
control.
beater. Zywoo Rops joined at the hip here inside A, but
Nice
Rops
opening
loses
pick
his
from
head to
Heavy
Heavy God, who's been fighting back from a slow start. It is all on Zywoo. There is no help
Mobs is
to be
hearing
found.
this Flames
And they are
They
aggression.
are desperate
They
to
reach
rotate
a
around
car.
through spawn.
That Flamesy, he's
Now
got
they're
his
gonna
guard
pull
down
back.
a bit
No
about
way.
logs.
No way Hunter
CT.
calls this fall back.
So watch this. So Hunter calls the rotation from Vitality here. Okay. So what he's going to do is he's going to set up Mobs to try to get this pick, and then they're going to explode onto B site. That's the call. Okay. But then Mobs' initial kill takes longer than expected, and because of that, he knows that these CTs are going to be scrambled. They're going to run back to B, and then they exec A on Zywoo. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. This could come down to Mobs. His adjustments in these spots, the flash is beautiful.
Look, it's taking a long time. The CTs are already running back. Right?
This could come down to Mobs.
If
His
Mobs immediately gets this headshot, they just go and take the space, and it's GG.
adjustments in these spots, the flash is beautiful.
Oh,
Look how long it takes.
not able to
They're
get
already
that gun out,
pushing
not
into
able to
CT.
swing. Mezzi on the scene next, and Hunter's caught
Hunter
out in the
even goes
open, but they
down.
know that Mobs
So now they have the info that there's two here, and
would have
boom,
gotten the
it's just
frag,
so
and Zywoo's starting to depart
free
that
for
A
them.
site, while the bomb and the others sit there. It is just Mobs running around on B, but it is just Zywoo sitting inside A.
Look, you have
this is
three
meant to
players
be the best,
crawling up
which
lane.
means you have to do something fantastic.
Zywoo knows he's fucked
and he
now.
will do
And
nothing
that was such a beautiful, beautiful round of Counter-Strike. Like, perfect calling, perfect playing the man advantage, right? Like, this whole team is I mean, not only firing on all cylinders through this whole tournament run, but also it's so interesting to me because they have seemed to absorb Hunter's individual playstyle, which I think is really cool. Like there are so many rounds where you can see that they're just finding like these ridiculous timings, like on their CT comeback.
Pressure that got them into overtime. Not
Go back to
it
like,
wasn't Inferno. He didn't really try to use it at all. He played very well without it.
Pressure from the apartments is going to have Heavy God dropping nades, and this is a Heavy God that we're waiting to kind of get his game on. Sitting 9 and 14, bottom of the board for G2.
I love this setup from G2. I love when they double up Cubby like this. I think Hunter is one of the best players ever in all the iterations of G2 at working on brackets control. They know when to get info back.
look at, yeah, this timing is ridiculous. You want to know how I know that it's Hunter? Is look at this.
Players ever in all the
Hunter and
iterations of
Sampayas
G2
are
at
doubled up.
working on
Sampayas
brackets
is the one
control.
that gets the
They know
kill.
when to get info
Hunter's
back.
going right behind him. He knows that timing right there. And like he's just calling that for Sampayas.
Very big.
Dude, the
That's
confidence
beautiful.
of
And it's
Sunbias.
just a free pick, like completely untradeable. This should not be like, this is not that atrocious of a play from Vitality, to be honest. Like, it ends up being atrocious
Dude, the
because
confidence
Apex
of
just goes
Sunbias in the
down,
middle
right?
of that
Completely
zone.
untradeable.
Right behind
But,
him.
you know, they pushed
Bolstered.
them back on brackets,
Hunter
and then Hunter just finds that
supporting
gap.
his troops, reassuring
pushes
them that if a
Sampayas through.
mistake is made, he's there to save them.
I think Sampayas needed that. A little buoy over on Arch instead of just sitting there the entire round.
Flash
even
again here
puts
for
that out,
Malbs
like-
on Banana.
Yeah.
But there is no swing behind it. With the second flash, there should be.
Again,
Oh, it's up!
that timing, right? You go on the second
It's a
flash
little late.
timing.
Mezzi can't stop.
Now, Hunter isn't calling that directly, but where that comes from is it comes from playing in this team for, you know, the past couple of months. Like, in the scrims, they've talked about this. Like, this is the theory that they have. It's like, don't go in the first flash timing. That's, you know, that's too telegraphed, right? Just go on the second timing. Like,
Flash again here for Malbs on Banana.
look, they're
There's no
waiting.
swing
All
behind it with
Vitality's
the
like,
second
now they
flash,
go
there
back
should
and now they're
be.
going to throw some
Oh,
nades.
it's up!
And there it is. Right? That's just like here. You can see it on the minimap.
Instead of just sitting there the entire round.
Flash again here for Malbs on Banana.
Everyone is looking at Malbs right now. Everyone on Banana is looking at Malbs. They see that a swing doesn't come, so they think, okay, they're far. Like they just flashed, they're trying to force this back, they're far. So now they go,
But there is no
and
swing
look,
behind it with the
now they go, run back, set up nades. As soon as Mattis throws that other
second
flash,
flash, there should
and
be.
it's just
Oh,
a
it's
free
up!
double.
It's a little late. Mezzi can't stop all that damage. Sampayas back to the action.
And I don't think that that's like a super bad mistake from Vitality. I think that's just G2 playing really well. And again, like what made Hunter great is his ability to find those timings. I mean, you see him in almost all of these games when I think there's a moment on Mirage. Oh, it was against Furia. Where Hunter makes a great play, and unfortunately he gets caught out. Let's see if I can find it. G2 versus Furia Blast London.
They're comfortable. And if it comes in from one direction, it smoke down for Heavy God. Frag beyond it. Challenge right through. Great trade from Sampayas. But on
I think it's this round.
Flash will keep him on his toes. Is there some kind of a push behind it? He wonders.
I'd love to know a round like this.
Back
Fine.
switch.
A little bit
Yeah.
more pressure on the hold. Oh, and there's
Find
the
Mattis.
fine.
Switch.
Look at what Hunter does here.
Fallen finds his.
This is classic Hunter. It doesn't end up working out for him, but only because Yakindar makes a great play here. Ready? Look at this timing
Hunter
he
has
finds.
been lights out.
Here's one drop.
And he goes unnoticed.
That's crazy.
Oh, and he doesn't just pull the trigger. He waits, backs,
Molodoy drops. He has two players dead to
turned
rights,
bomb in front of him.
and Yakindar just makes an unreal clear.
He gets
was such a good
Right.
play. Nice try, Hunter.
That's a round-winning play
Backs
in a 4v5 that he makes here.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
and he doesn't just pull the trigger. He waits, backs.
Like, why is Yakindar even clearing Van? Like, look.
This puts a little bit more
I think
pressure on the
Fallen
hold.
drops Van.
Oh, and there's the
Back
find.
switch. Fallen finds his timing,
Yeah,
but Hunter has
Fallen
been
drops
lights
Van.
out.
Van is
And
clear.
he goes unnoticed.
That's crazy.
Oh, and he doesn't just pull the trigger.
Now, obviously, these guys are tier 1, right? So it's like, you gotta expect everything.
He waits, backs turned, bomb in front of him.
But that kind of play is exactly how G2 is playing as a team, which I think is crazy. Like, they are actively studying the other team, looking for those kinds of timings. I think it's great. Like, I really fucking love this G2 team. It's amazing. Like, they are really of one mind right now. And I think it says a lot about Hunter, not only as an individual player, but as a leader, like a leader of men. And I think that, you know, of the players that have transitioned to IGL recently, I think the player with the best chance to transition successfully is Hunter. And I think, this is my hot take, I think in 5 years, Hunter will have been a better IGL than Nico and will have more silverware than Nico will. Like, at the end of their careers, I think that there's a 60% chance that Hunter ends with more silverware than Nico because Hunter was a better IGL than Nico. I think Nico will win a major as an IGL, but I think that Hunter might actually eclipse Nico as the most successful Kovac cousin. Super hot take, but I think that there's potential for that, and I think that G2 showed that really well. So yeah, moving on. So what does the success of G2 mean for the rest of the scene? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves in the wake of this amazing performance. For starters, I think that Falcons should fire Zonic. And I think that they need to do that quickly. I think that they should fire Zonic and pick up Ash. Ash and Saul were kind of like the two guys in tier 2 or tier 1.5 or whatever you want to call it, who really were above the rest of the field. So I think the Falcons should hire Ash. I think what Falcons' problem is right now is that their players have too long of a leash. And I don't think that Zonic is really trying to create a system. I think he's letting his star players play, which isn't the wrong decision. But I think that, like, if you look at Monacy's fall off, I think that Monacy has been having issues, especially since Kyosuke's come in. Just because I don't like, I mean, Monacy had an awesome EWC, so that's great to see. But even here, like, look at this against Mouse. Like, he's going into Torji. Like, Torji's a good opper, but I mean, granted, it's Inferno and Nuke. These, like, none of these are really op maps, right? All this to say that I think that every player on Falcons would benefit from greater structure in the team. And I think that Kixon is not enabled as a caller or a player. Like, Kixon was playing really, really solidly when it was the Heroic Core and Nico, right? And Magisk. Like, Kixon was putting up some decent numbers. Recently, Kixon has not been putting up good numbers. But Kixon is a good shooter for an IGL, and that's sort of why they went with Kixon in the first place over someone like Hooksy. Well, also the VRS implications, and they needed to pick up a core. right? But they could have just cut Kixon right away if they didn't think like Kixon is a decent enough caller, I think, and a solid individual performer. Um, so yeah, but like, look at this. There is no reason that Modesty should be putting up these kinds of numbers against the Mongols on Mirage and Dust 2. Like, I know that Modesty is one of the best players in the world on both of these maps. I'm not even trying to glaze, but like, this is pretty unacceptable. Like, this should not be happening ever. And I think that this is a sign that things are not working. And again, here, Dust 2, like, this is a map where you need to enable Monacy. And I think that I don't think we're getting the best out of Monacy. I don't think we're getting the best out of Nico. I don't think we're getting the best out of Kioske. I don't think we're getting the best out of Tessas because there's no structure to this team. So I think you need to hire someone like Ash. And if you're the Falcons management, who have been really bad, like Falcons management is not done what it's needed to do with the level of players that they have. But you can save it all. You can save this project. Like, things are starting to teeter out of control here for Falcons. You can save it all by bringing in Ash, or I can't even really think of another coach that is of Ash's caliber. But you need to incorporate a system here because what they're doing isn't. It's not working. Like, why are you losing to Aurora? Like, Falcons should never, ever in a million years lose to Aurora. That's not even to shit on Aurora. I think Aurora is a good team that has really, really strong individuals. Zentaris, Waxic, Wakadia, Joda, insane players. But they're not Nico Monasi, Kyosuke Tessas. Like, just 1-to-1. Like, maybe Joda is better than Tessas. Like, for like position, because I think that Joda's playing a lot of the anchor roles, if I'm not mistaken. But you should never be dropping this series if you're Falcons, right? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on Falcons. I'm really echoing kind of like talking counter. I think they said something like that. The counter argument to that is shouldn't we be letting our star players play, and just have a lot of freedom? Like, is that how you counteract it? I don't think so. Like, I think you gotta kind of put them on a shorter leash. I think the leash is a little too long right now. And I think that the future of Counter-Strike, as shown by G2, is a strong system created by a strong coach and a strong in-game leader. And I think that Kixon is strong enough to create that. Like, I don't think that Kixon's the problem. I think Kixon is going to end up being cut, but I don't think that Kixon's really the problem. I don't even know that Zonic's really the problem. I just don't think that Zonic is enabled as a coach right now. I don't know that Zonic is as up to date as someone like Ash is with like pushing the meta forward. I think that Zonic can leave Falcons and go to another team and build them up and have success. I just don't think it's working right now, because even when he was at Astralis, like, and they found that initial success, like, they weren't loaded with some of the best players in the world. Like, they just straight up weren't. Like, they built that from the ground up. Like, they were already a great team, but bringing in Glaive over Kerrigan, they were able to develop a system. Glaive and Zonic, they developed the system, and then they elevated the players to another level. And that is why Astralis found all that success. Like, sure, they already had Device. Sure, they already had Dupree. Those are 2 phenomenal pieces. I don't think Zipnix was like lighting the world on fire at that time. I wasn't really watching at that time, but I think Zonic needs to move on. I think it's in the best interest of his career to move on. Maybe go. I mean, Liquid already has a coach, but go to another team. Try to figure something out. Coach up some younger players that want to learn what you have to offer to them. I don't think that Nico and Monacy really need someone like Zonic. I think they need someone like Ash who's going to develop a system that they can also help develop that system. I don't think that Zonic's the right fit right now. I think that they should get rid of him. Yeah. My next point. I love this. I was gonna write like an article about this, but I decided to do this. Mouse is dead. Long live Mouse. Mouse is fucking cooked. Okay, G2 just did what they have been trying to do for like an entire year, which is get over the hump and win a big tournament. Out of that like fourth best in the world slot. I mean, at one point, Mouse was the second best team in the world, and they never won an event. Mouse is dead as of right now. Like the entire ethos of Mouse, like this has to be the biggest gut punch possible to Mouse to see another team do what you have been trying to do for fucking 6 months. Do it on the first try. Like this is really bad for Mouse. Now the reason I say long live Mouse is now that mental block is gone. You've beaten Vitality, not in the grand finals, but you've beaten Vitality. You know, you still haven't won that big tournament, but now you've beaten every team out there. There's no mental block that should be holding you back. Sure, you just got fucking destroyed by Vitality in a series that wasn't even close. But the thing is now there are no more expectations on Mouse. There are none. Like they have nothing to live up to. They've always crumbled under pressure. I think there was a lot of pressure on the expectations placed upon them. Now there's none. Now you're freed up. You can do whatever you want. Now I think you make a roster change. For me, I would be looking to move away from Xerxin. I know that Xerxin is incredibly important to this lineup. But I don't know that he is really what you need. I think Spinks has been phenomenal since he's come in. I think Jimmy has taken an individual hit, but he's doing his job. Like, he is getting a little exploited on the B side of Mirage. Now, like, there are moments where Jimmy is weak, but he wasn't weak before, and since he had to change what he was doing, he's kind of taken a step back. Xerxin has been the one through line of this whole team. Like, I don't think that Xerxin, like, I just don't. I think that Xerxin throws very important games. Look at this. This is unacceptable from your star rifler, right? This is unacceptable from your star rifler. Like the fact that they won this series. I don't know. He went 9-8. It was a blowout. I'm not going to judge too hard. This is Mirage. This is their best map. And he's going 0.6. Here he puts up a great series against Furia in a losing effort. Props. But this is online. This is all online. Online. He drops the bag against Falcons. In 2 maps where, you know, if he performs better, it's probably a lot closer. He doesn't even do that well against Virtus Pro, but they eke out the win. Straw does well against Spirit. Good job. But then here, doesn't do very well against Spirit on LAN in a finals, I believe. I believe that this was the Blast Bounty finals. Like, he's too streaky. He's just, I don't know. Again, important match. This was an important match that he performed well in. I don't know. Look at this, bro. This is not it. It's just not. I don't know. I think he's far too inconsistent. Um, Now, who would you add? Because for all the shit that I'm giving Xerxan right now, he does balance out the team a lot more because Spinks and Jimmy are notably insanely passive players, right? Torji's a fairly aggressive op piece that you can play aggressively. So, I like that. In the balance of the team, I think that, Brolin was always an entry fragger. And Xerxan was always an entry fragger. One guy that I think is really underrated is Flamis. Flamis is an English speaker. I mean, he would be failing upwards because he got benched on VP and did not play well, but he was also put into really horrible positions on VP in an electronic system that did not work. Going back to his time on Gamer Legion, like he was a great entry fragger for Gamer Legion. I mean, he had that great run in the major. But like, these are very consistent stats against lesser competition. I think that would be an interesting pickup that you could look towards. I don't know if it's the solution, right? Who else do you got? Xfloud is not really sure. Fucking heroic. You could look towards Xfloud, although his stats are looking rough right now. I don't know what the solution is. Like, so yeah, I'm just here critiquing. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you're Mouse, it's time for a roster change. The person that I would maybe look to first is Xerxan. Um, Maybe you want to get rid of Brolin. Maybe Navi blows up and you can get Alexi in there. That could be very interesting. Or, and then you move Xerxan into the calling role. Because apparently he is already doing a lot, like calling a lot of the openers and just leaving Brolin to mid round. Right? So maybe that wouldn't even be the worst move. Maybe you go for Nertz, right? Nertz is not happy right now. He's a great aggressive piece. You would need to sort of change how you play and have Nertz kind of taking forward aggressive lurks, and then have Brolin as your actual entry fragger, and then maybe get Jimmy to play trade fragger or Spinks. I think that Nertz could be an interesting pickup. I think PR, like, this guy has been sitting on Gamer Legion for so long, man. And, like, I think he's ready to take the next step if Gamer Legion wants to, because they can't figure out this opping role right now, right? Maybe I like Body. I don't think that Body is that bad. I like Exercise. Maybe you look to poach some people from 3D Max. I'm not sure what their English is like. I mean, Body's played on international teams. I don't know about the rest of these guys. Who else could you look for? I'm just waiting for VP to blow up, to be honest. I think at the end of the season they're going to blow up, so maybe if Fame and Flit speak some good English, maybe you can look towards there. I don't know. But I think at the end of the season, Mals are going to really need to think, and they're going to need to move on. But I think that this will breathe new life into Mals, and I think that they can try to reach new peaks, because I think they have a great system in place there. I think Cyclone is an awesome, awesome coach. I think that they've developed actually a pretty decent system with Brolin, who is not a world beater IGL, but he's a game manager. To me, he's like Dak Prescott. And as a Cowboys fan, I love Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott's a great quarterback. I think that Brolin's career trajectory is actually going to look a little bit like Dak's at the beginning. And I think that Brolin will be a successful IGL. I don't know. I don't like the fact that Xerxin and Torji have so much freedom in this team that Brolin is not. That Brolin is kind of taking a seat as a game manager. There's nothing wrong with having a game manager IGL. In fact, I think that's what Blitz does on the Mongols a lot. I think that Blitz is essentially a game manager. Same thing with Chopper. Same thing with Kixon. And like Falcons have found, some success. They've found maybe more success than Mouse in the past couple of months. Actually, they have, because they beat Mouse in a grand final. Mouse's one chance at a trophy, right? So yeah. Moving on. Are Vitality now underdogs? I don't think so. I think that Vitality, like if they can get into grand finals, should be the favorite in the grand finals. I think Vitality is a great team. I think that this is a stumbling block. I think the test will now be to see how do they respond. I think Launders made an interesting note on the broadcast that it's been Flamesy and Mezzy who have kind of taken a little bit of a step back this season. I think they're not as hot. I think that teams are starting to game plan specifically to exploit these two players. So, if you're Apex and Xtez, how can you scheme up things to maybe enable these players a little more? Where was Rops in the grand final? Like, he didn't look like the Rops that we knew. So I think you just got to go back to the drawing board and kind of reinvent yourself a little bit. And the great thing is that if we look at the events, you have time. You're not playing Fissure Playground. You have ESL Pro League to essentially scheme out what you want to do next. And then you can implement it in Chengdu. And then you can go into the major potentially as favorites if you win Chengdu. Which will be difficult, but it is quite possible. Everyone's really up in arms right now about Vitality. I'm not too worried. I think they just sort of need some macro changes in how they are approaching things. I think I don't know that they got like figured out per se, but I just don't think that what they were doing previously was working. No Falcons at Blast. You have to wonder how this tournament would have looked if Falcons were there. I don't think M80 is in the playoffs. Falcons probably would have played either Mouse or Furia, and I think they win that. And then it depends on what side of the bracket they're on, but maybe they run into Vitality. Maybe that series is closer. Maybe they win, and we get a Falcons G2 final. I don't think that anyone was beating G2 at this tournament. I think that they were too hot. They just gained so much momentum. Like, my prediction going into Blast was that Furia was actually going to take it. I thought that Furia was going to get over the hump. And then I saw Furia get blown out by G2. I was really confused because that's been a series that has been super awesome to watch recently. Like, G2 Furia is going to be one of these matchups moving forward that I think is going to really be deterministic for how the tournament's going to play out. I think that Furia, and I guess we can just segue this into my Furia point, but which is our Furia group stage merchants are just unlucky. I think that in this tournament, Furia was unlucky. I think they ran into a fucking buzzsaw at G2. Like, I think they were hot. I think they had a plan. Now it's going to be on Furia, especially at Fissure, to see what they can do against G2. Like, top contenders at Fissure are Mongols, G2, Falcons, Furia, Aurora. That's like the top 5 heading into this. I think that playoffs realistically are going to be those 5 that I mentioned, because I believe that it's an 8-team playoff. It is. Then I like Astralis for the playoffs, and I like Tyloo for the playoffs over FaZe and 3D Max. I'll get into that Tyloo point. Fuck it. Let me finish this and then I'll get into Tyloo. I think that Furia are an amazing team that still have a ton of potential. I think Molodoy didn't have his... Oh, my camera. I think that Molidoid didn't have his best series on LAN against G2. They sort of have an issue on stage, but Fallen has so much experience there. Kindar has a lot of experience on stage. I think that they can come together as a team. Like, this is a team that is not going to ascend. Their ascension is due to their floor being as high as it is, right? Like, this is a team with a very high floor. Now, what you have to do is you have to slowly raise that ceiling up. Like, you have to get Yakinder to raise his ceiling, and you have to get Yuri to raise his ceiling, right? Yuri in a lot of matches has played great. Maybe you actually need to get Yuri to raise his floor. I don't know, but you need to get Yakinder and Yuri a little more dialed in, and then I think that you can see this Furia team win. I think Furia could go into Fissure Playground and just win it straight up. I don't think that that will happen, but I think that Furia will consistently be making playoffs. I'm looking for them to make the playoffs at the major. Same thing with Chengdu. And the really pressing thing for this team, though, is how much longer do you have Fallen for? And that's sort of the sad thing about this team, is that is Fallen, how much longer does Fallen want to play for? You know? So yeah, that's sort of the sad truth about it. I don't know. I think Furia are a bit of group stage merchants, but I think they were also a little unlucky. I think that Furia could win a tournament, but it would need to be the right situation. They would need to get a good draw, and they would need, like, say in Fissure, they would probably need Falcons and Mongols to cannibalize one of each other, and then they get revenge over G2 and get into the finals. Then I think that maybe, I think that they could beat Mongols. Could, not will, could. And I think that they would actually beat Falcons, head to head. So yeah, and we'll get into this more in the predictions, but I think that Furia is a top contender, for me right now. Yeah, I am going to take a quick bathroom break. I'm going to put on something to entertain you in the meantime. Let's just put on the trophy lift. This was a great trophy lift. I loved watching this.
He has no nades, he has no time either. If Sampayas doesn't just start shooting at the walls, if nobody gives him a thread to...
Probably. We knew we can play good CS, but we didn't show it yet, but now is the best moment, so it's really good.
I respect the honesty, man. Thank you. Hunter! No Nico here this time around. You've taken on a new role, IGL, for just 43 days. You deserve that, by the way. You deserve that. You take on the IGL role. G2 asked you so many times to do this, but you just beat Vitality, the best team of 2025 so far. Just tell me, how did you manage to do this? How did you manage to dig deep enough through this crazy final?
I mean, first of all, I wanted to say thanks to this amazing crowd that supported us throughout the whole event. Thanks to my boys for believing in me, and
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Too much liquids. I drank a protein shake, then like most of a coffee, and then some water, all while I've been doing this. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right, some of the next points that I have. We have two more. Actually, let's save this save those for after this. Okay, Fissure Playground. This is going to be interesting. Some notable absences. Spirit, who just signed to Nier, who we are going to talk about after this. No Spirit, no Vitality, no Mouse, and no Navi. Navi isn't really competing for trophies right now, but Navi's Navi. Navi's fucking good. You know, they're a playoff gatekeeper team. So because they aren't here, we're gonna see a team like Tyloo or Astralis or FaZe sneak into the playoffs when they probably shouldn't. Same thing. No Mouse. You know, that's a playoff team consistently. All of these teams are consistent playoff teams. So this is a chance for some teams that are kind of nipping at their heels to kind of gain some momentum, especially going into Pro League and Chengdu. I talked earlier about how I don't think some of these top teams are going to, you know, really go all out at Pro League. So these two tournaments here are a chance for someone like Astralis to gain a lot of momentum going forward. Same thing with 3D Max. I mean, these guys need to fucking win something. Like, they need to get into the playoffs once. Like, this is their chance, right? This is their chance to build momentum. So, yeah, let's get into this bracket a little bit. I wish that I could, like, actually do this Swiss. I wonder if there's a... Okay. I don't think there's a way to do it. I think Mongols go 2-0. I think G2 goes 2-0. I think Falcons goes 2-0. And I think that Furia goes 2-0. Of those teams, it would be then Mongols versus Furia, and then G2 versus Falcons. So I'm going to say that Mongols goes 3-0 and oof. I'm going to say the Mongols and Falcons go 3-0 are in the top two spots. I think G2 is going to be jet lagged. I think G2 is going to be tired. They just came off a huge win. I think they'll get into the playoffs. Then they'll have a rest day. Then they'll kind of come back. So Mongols Falcons 3-0, Furia G2, and Aurora go 3-1. Then in the 3-2 slot, I'm going to go Astralis, FaZe, oof. I think that Tyloo will go 3-2. I think that Astralis will go 3-2. Then it's between FaZe and 3D Max. I really want 3D Max to do well. I also want FaZe to do well. So I'll just put both of them in there. I'll put them as like a slash. I think that they are... I don't think FaZe is that good right now. I really don't. Like, they did well to get in the playoffs, but who did they even play? They beat Navi, they beat Ecstatic. Lost to Vitality in a seeding match. A game they should have won, in fairness. They really should have won, but it was off the back of winning both pistols. I think in their first 2 maps, I think they were 4-0 on pistols, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was 3-1 or something. Like, FaZe just had a lot of momentum because of the pistol rounds. And then they got creamed by G2, and everyone ended up getting creamed by G2. So, can't take too much from that. I don't know. Let's look at 3D Max. Let's look at some of their recent matches. They beat Tai Lu a bunch. They to a Lin Vision. They lost to the Mongols 2-1. They beat Navi 2-1. Lost to G2. Beat Gamer Legion. Lost to Mongols. Beat Tai Lu. Lost to Nip. Okay, never mind. FaZe should have this, but you never know with 3D Max. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna go with FaZe 3-2. So my predictions for playoffs are Mongols Falcons 1 and 2, then Furia G2 Aurora, anywhere in that 3-5 slot. I'm unsure of how the seeding will work, but I think based off the power rankings, it will go G2 3, Furia 4, Aurora 5, then Tyloo, Astralis, FaZe. So FaZe in my theoretical bracket would be matched up against Mongols. Astralis would be matched up against Mongols. FaZe would be up against Falcons. Tyloo would be up against Furia. And then G2 and Aurora would be playing each other. So then I think that G2 will win that. I'm going to take all the favorites in that. So it will end Mongols, Falcons, Furia, G2. So then it will be G2 Mongols. Inshallah we get G2 Mongols, bro. That is a fucking real deal game. Then Falcons, Furia. Then I'm going to take Furia to beat Falcons to get into the final. Now, Falcons has had a long time, a very long time to prepare. They've had a lot of off time. They've been boot camping. I mean, Nico's been fucking streaming, for God's sake. That guy must be bored. Falcons should be able to punch back. But, I mean, Furia's beaten Falcons already with this roster. It was early days, but, I mean, Falcons was best early days when they initially brought m0NESY in. So, yeah, I'm going to do a G2 Furia rematch in the finals here at Fissure. Oh, maybe I should just take Falcons over Furia. Yeah. Oh, I really want Fury to get into the finals. I'm a homer, but I'm changing that. We're going to go G2 Falcons in finals, and yeah, I'm going to say the Falcons might do it. I think that G2 is going to be a little hungover. I think there's a lot of fresh tape out there on G2. So G2, yeah, there's too much fresh tape. All right, I'm changing all over the place. I'm going to go Mongols, Falcons final with, I think that Mongols takes it. Okay, official prediction. Playoffs, Mongols and Falcons go through. Write this down. Okay? And we're going to come back next week, and we're going to look at this again. Okay? So, I have Mongols and Falcons going 3-0. Then I have Furia G2 Aurora going 3-1. Tyloo Astralis FaZe 3-2. In this theoretical playoff, we're going to have FaZe playing Mongols, Falcons playing Astralis, Furia playing Tyloo, and then G2 playing Aurora. I have Mongols beating FaZe. I have Falcons beating Astralis. I have Furia beating Tyloo. I have G2 beating Aurora. So then it's Mongols, Falcons, Furia, G2, top 4, where G2 plays Mongols, Falcons plays Furia. I'm going to take both the 3-0 teams. I think that they're going to play very well. They've had a long, extended break. A lot of these teams have really been scrapping recently. They've really been grinding. So I'm going to take Mongols over the Falcons in a best of 3 finals. Yeah. Official prediction. Right there. I'm very excited for Fissure Playground too. I think that this is going to be a great tournament. I like when not all the top teams are there, so some underdogs get a shot. I think this will be really fun. I think this is going to be a great tournament. Then following that, we're going to be moving into EPL. I'll probably do a roundup on Fissure. There's a bit of a break because then there's that Star Ladder tournament that no one really cares about. I'm probably not even going to talk about it. Maybe there will be some interesting roster moves or some interesting rumors or something going on. But yeah, okay. Final 2 points I want to talk about, just rounding things out here. Spirit officially confirmed Tanier. Spirit just got so much better. I don't think that Zontix was horrible, but I think that Tanier is phenomenal. I think that Tanier is my top prospect right now, for whatever that's worth. I think Tanier is going to come into Spirit and dominate. I think Tanier is going to play very, very, very well for his roles and positions. Yeah, it's going to go Donk, Shiro, Tanier. Sometimes Shiro, Donk, Tanier. Sometimes Donk, Tanier, Shiro. Maybe 1 out of 50 games is going to be Tanier, Donk, Shiro, or Flop, Donk, and Shiro. I think that Tanier is going to play very well. I think he's going to plug into this system and play very well. I think that the thing that Spirit was missing is Zontix's output on T side was not acceptable. Not acceptable, but just not up to snuff with Tanier. I think that he's a great, phenomenal, amazing late round player on T side. Zontix was stepping it up, but I think that Tanier is better. If you go back, Maui Snake has a breakdown video on Tanier on Skin Hub or Skin Place on Skin Place's YouTube channel for whatever reason. But that VOD breakdown is amazing. Like, Tanier is great. I think he's really, really, really good. Yeah. Looking forward for Spirit. I think Spirit is going to give Zwei time. Spirit is going to play out the rest of the season with this lineup. And then I think they should probably bring Magix back, to be honest. The Zwei thing doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I think my read on this is I don't even know what they were really thinking. Like, the thing I think that happened was I think they wanted Tanier from the get-go. Or I think they should have wanted Tanier from the get-go, but then Heroic fucked themselves because, you know, they need the, I don't even know what they were doing with the VRS. Somehow the VRS got fucked up, so they needed Tanier to stay in their core, and then they couldn't sell Tanier. So then they had to try to fix their VRS, and then they could sell Tanier. But Spirit needed a change now, so then I think they were like, okay, Donk, who do you want to play with? And then he was like, Zwei. And, like, but I don't think that Donk was, like, coming after Magix. I don't know. This is just, you know, sort of my headcanon of what's been going on. But I don't think Zwei was the move. I think Zwei has struggled. I don't think that Zwei is an anchor. Yeah. This was a bad move. This is a bad move for Zwei's career, honestly. Because Zwei is good. Like, there are moments where Zwei's mechanics are so like, where they are Donk and Kyosuke level. Like, maybe a step down. I think definitely a step down for sure. But, I think that Zwei, I mean, he's a kid. He's 17 years old. Like, and you're asking him to come in to the highest profile CIS region team that there is right now and play bitch roles and somehow have the mental strength to, you know, deal with all the criticism coming his way. And like, I mean, he's a Zoomer. He's on social media all day. Like, you know, like he sees everything. People in his face at games are probably like, I feel bad for the kid, honestly. He's shown flashes. Like, there's a moment, maybe in this Esports World Cup series, I think on Ancient, where he gets this awesome triple spray down on Ancient. Yeah, but he's not playing that great, frankly. So yeah, you know, I feel bad for him. I don't think that Magic's ever should have gotten cut. I think Magic's did way too much for that team. And I like Zontix, but I don't know. I don't think it was the move. I'm interested to see what Spirit will do, because Spirit isn't playing Fissure Playground like we talked about, and they're also probably not playing Star Ladder, right? So that means that they have, from today, Tuesday, the 9th of September, 2025, they have 28 days, almost a full month, to integrate Tanier into their lineup and just scrim and just grind. And we know that these kids love to grind, bro. Shiro was on that Gambit team that would play scrims after officials. Donk is like, dude, he's a robot. Zwei is a Faceit Gremlin as well, and Tanier also Faceit Gremlin. Chopper's, you know, maybe kind of an old man, but you got to do what you got to do, man. Like, you're leading, you know, arguably the best team in the world right now. So yeah, I'm high on Spirit. I think come Chengdu, I think that they will be back in the trophy discussion. I think they could even win Pro League. Like, the craziest part about this season for Spirit is they made the wrong roster move, okay? But they could still end the year with 1, 2, 3. What the fuck is the screen? 1, 2, 3. They're not going to this, are they? 4. Oh, but they're doing that thing where... Okay, I'm not even sure if they're playing Chengdu or PGL. Because I think that ESL said if you're playing in PGL Bucharest, you cannot play in Chengdu. Fuck ESL. Fuck ESL, bro. That's some bitch shit. That's some oligarch monopolist shit. Fuck ESL. Fuck ESL for that, bro. PGL is doing everything right now. Like, I heard on the Snake and Banter with Vu that PGL is asking talent, like they're basically hiring talent like a whole year in advance, which is something that is not normal. Like, oftentimes you won't know if you're working an event until a month before for some of these talent guys, right? They're giving out huge prize pools. They've had really great events. Like, I think that Astana was really cool. I think that, what was the other one that they did? They had another one last season. I think it was maybe in Serbia. But that was the one the Falcons won. That was a great event. That was really fun for, honestly, the lack of top teams that were there. I really enjoyed that tournament. It was a great crowd. Great grand final. It was awesome. So fuck ESL. Some bitch shit. This is going to be a great tournament anyway. Chengdu will be. But, you know, no thanks to ESL, right? So, yeah, I really hope that someone steps in and says that, ESL can't just bar teams from playing in Chengdu if they go to Bucharest, which doesn't even overlap, right? Like grand finals are on November 1st. Group stage starts on November 3rd for Chengdu. Like, that's a decision a team should be able to make. Like, you are going to have repercussions from playing in both of these, right? So do you want to go to both? You need to leave that up to the teams. They'll, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Spirit's gonna have a long time to get to near integrated, and yes. And what I was saying before I got on a tangent is that okay? Let's say that ESL can't bar teams from playing in Chengdu, right? They've already won 2 trophies this season. They could win 3, 4, 5, 6 trophies this season, because I don't think they're going to Rivals. They are going to Rivals. They could win 7 trophies this season, right? Because, yeah, like they could just straight up win these events with Tanir because I think that Tanir is going to be that good. Now, I don't think they'll win all 7, but they could win the major. Even though they made a bad decision in signing Sway, in my opinion. I think that he could pan out, but I think that it was in Cluj. It was in Cluj, and they're going back to Cluj. That's cool. Yeah, I think that come the end of the season, they might cut Zoe. And maybe they'll pick up my boy Flamus. That would be absolute cinema, bro. That would be great. Hopefully they don't make him anchor, though, because he fucking sucks at that. A lot of people are calling for Chopper's head. I disagree as of right now. So, yeah. That's the spirit point. And then the final point I wanted to make is in North American news. Let's just take a look at how awesome this is. NRG just won a trophy with Nitro top fragging in the year of our Lord 2025. Boom! And they beat Ninjas in Pajamas, who I think are a solid team that could make a run in the major. Absolute cinema. Absolute fucking cinema. This is awesome. I love to see this. Like, this is a legit European team. Kaspersky, dude. What the hell? He's an antivirus? Oh, I spelled it wrong. This dude is nuts. Look at this. Boom. Awesome music. That's who they played against. That's who Nitro played against in 2025. that old man. Dude, let's go, bro. Let's go. This is awesome. Snappy, also great IGL. Wrinkle, great talent. You jerks probably should be cut, to be honest. Look at that. Kaspersky dropped a 1.4 and they won. Nitro dropped a 1.43 in the year of our Lord 2025. And Counter-Strike is so back. And you want to know? This isn't even NA Counter-Strike. This is American Counter-Strike. Okay? Ronald Reagan said, you can move to France and you will never be French. You can move to Denmark and you will never be Danish. But you can move to America and you can be an American. We hired the likes of Bro. No one wanted Bro. He was a flop on Astralis. He was literally, you could see him shaking in grand finals when Astralis would play. We say, come on over, buddy. You can be American. You can be an American hero. We got Bro. We got honorary American Sonic. This guy is basically an American at this point. I'm pretty sure he went to school in the United States. Not entirely sure. He played on Liquid for all those years. He was on Wildcard. We got Sonic, baby. This is his first tournament in this team, and they won. Sonic is a great player. I really, really like Sonic. This is an awesome upgrade for this team, for Carson, who I think was just a little washed. To be honest, like I just, you know, he's just one of those guys. Like I don't even think he was that good in his prime. Like what he was on like NRG, right? Let's look at this. He was dropping a. Oh yeah, like this guy. I mean, hey, we love an NA tier 2 player, but yeah, he just wasn't really cutting it. Past 3 months, 49 maps, 0.97. Could be better. Ironically, whoa, Sonic already better, 0.98. But yeah, this is awesome. But this leads me to a more tragic point. What the fuck is happening at Wildcard, bro? What, like, look at this. They were 16th in the world at one point. 16th in the world at, yeah, Amaranth team. Oh, wait, did you see this, Cal? Alright, fuck it. We'll click on the Flom clip. Ignore
Speaking
Flom.
of entertainment product, let's just listen. Let's just listen. We're just going to listen and not judge, right, guys? Hold on.
Oh, here we go.
I'm back for Dusty S's ongoing coverage of Card, partially because of the VRS considerations. You know, Sonic left Energy, so they needed a third player from before the major. When did you know you were being recalled back to Wildcard? How soon before this event were you going from being a 9 player to being a Wildcard player again?
I knew it for quite a while. I don't know if I can say how long. I mean, that's about contract stuff between 9 and Wildcard, right? But I knew it for quite a while, and I think that's also made it a bit hard for me in 9, having this uncertainty. Will I go back? Will I not? There's this possibility that I might, and it was tough on me mentally, I'd say.
So in essence, it wasn't like a few days. It was you're on 9, but you know you're probably going to come back 9. You know, playing with a Euro and Peeping, who aren't those European players.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you always. I mean, now I'm back. There's not much I can do. We did make these changes, and I think we're maybe ranked 60 now.
For where Wildcard is right now, rewinding the clock a bit to post major, I think everyone was taken very by surprise by these changes the team decided to make. We talked to Stanislaw on day one, and he said bringing in Peeping wasn't a team decision. You and Sus being benched wasn't a team decision. Were you blindsided as well by those changes?
Okay, so Wildcard's old roster was Stan, Fozy, JBA, Susp, Sonic. Okay? They cut Stan and Susp and Fozy, I think. Yeah, then they had like Friend and Peeping. Right? It was weird.
Yeah, I think I knew a day before they announced that I was benched, that I was going to be benched. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise also at the end of the player break, so I couldn't really have a chance to find another team. So yeah, I think it was handled very poorly. And I think our goals going into Wildcard at the first place was to make this Austin major. But we exceeded those expectations a lot with Shanghai making legends and playing decent in other tournaments, right? So yeah, I feel like we gave Wildcard a lot, exceeded our goals and expectations, and yeah, I was very surprised that it happened.
Stanislaw hinted at the fact that it seems like it was a management decision from one person to sort of make these changes, and that there wasn't a lot of input from any other parties, especially not the team itself. He didn't really have any idea what this, what Wildcard management was thinking in these changes, but he was the first person benched. Do you have any indication what were they doing with these roster changes? These are roster changes that, of course, have been heavily criticized by not just the community, but even some of the players on the team. Sonic, I know, has been one of the more vocal people about it. Even other, even other teams in the NA scene were just scratching their head what was going on. What was Wildcard's plan? Do you think? Do you know anything about why they suddenly made these changes?
Well, I got asked to IGL, and I
Which is crazy. Why would you ask him to IGL? Right. He's the opper,
said that I don't want to IGL. I want to focus on opping.
obviously.
So I think it was pretty clear they wanted to cut Stanislaw pretty fast.
Which is crazy because Stanislaw is a top 3 North American IGL ever. Period. Like, of all time. That's like... And you're also... You're wild card, bro. Like, respectfully, like... You're not G2. You're not Vitality. Like, you're not any of these teams. Like, you don't even really have the backing of those teams. Like, if you cut Stan for, like, Kerrigan, I would get it. I wouldn't even cut Stan for Shuei. I still think that Stan is probably the best IGL in the North American scene right now, minus Fallen. But, I mean, he's South American, right? He's in Brazil. Like, Stan is better. Stan's the second best IGL in... Stan's the second best IGL in the fucking Western Hemisphere right now, and they wanted to cut him for firepower. Okay, I get it. Like, his numbers aren't that great, but come on, like, you can upgrade some other positions. Frankly, get a different offer from this guy. Like, Fozzy's fine, but like, you know, he's a tier 2 opper. He's not a tier 1 opper. True, Mason is better.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what they want to do. Maybe try to bring in some more firepower. But yeah, I'm not sure. We as players and the team, I don't think we had so much to say in it. I mean, obviously not me because I got benched, right? So, I mean, I'm not sure what happened. I heard ChatGPT was involved a bit with taking suggestions for players.
Amaranth used ChatGPT to cut Fozzy. Amaranth, I think this is my theory. My theory is that Amaranth wanted them to win the major, right? Because she, like, I think that she doesn't know anything about the space, and why would she, right? My theory is that Amaranth typed into ChatGPT, what do I do with this team? And it's like, cut Stanislaw because he's not fragging enough, cut Fozzy, and cut Susp. Literally their core, bro. That was like, oh my god.
Sorry, but I have to interject. Seriously?
From what I've heard, yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So like, hey ChatGPT, if I want to replace Stanislaw and Fuzi, who do you think should do it? I mean, that seems patently absurd and almost comical to
Look at him.
do
He's
that.
just straight faced, dead fucking
Especially
serious.
after making 2 majors. He said that Stanislaw told us that after this whole debacle unfolded, that management has changed. Does that allow you to kind of come into this wild card roster and put, quite frankly, that nonsense behind you?
It's something you always have.
Just ridiculousness, bro. And like, look, they're still gonna get in the major because NA is weak right now. I don't know who this Fiku guy is. I think Peeping is like all right. No, yeah, I don't know. They did fine last season. Like, sure they. Let's look here. They went stage 1 in this major versus I think they got stage 2 at the other major, and they did choke, right? Like, let's see. Damn, dude, this is confusing. Wait, no, not even, bro. They beat Pain. Who made the playoffs? I don't know. Regardless, what is going on at Wildcard, man? Like, I feel for Stanislaw because he just has to keep building up a team like over and over and over again. Like, I don't want to shit on Peeping, but Susp was like the best player in the major for Wildcard, and Sonic, like, they should have just kept the core and they should have just let it ride, like, and then you can maybe make the decision to cut Susp for Peeping, if you really think that Peeping is going to be the guy, or Fiku. Like, I just really like. Okay, I just unplugged my headset from my computer. Yeah, I just don't get it. And it's disappointing because I really liked Wildcard, and they were the best team out of North America. Yeah. You know that, what's that, this is them making roster decisions. Please load. It's killing the bit. Oh, the bit is on life support right now.
I'm back for Dusty S's ongoing.
The bit, it's dying. Please. Here we go. The bit's saved.
Gotten these barrels out of the van before we got in?
They're really heavy, D. We've already had to do it like a million times.
Where'd you get the money for this gas?
D, will you shut up and let me continue? Now, Frank, when we get back to the bar, you waterboard the shit out of Bruce and get a confession.
No problem.
Now, Dennis, you take that confession to the police, use your charm and good looks, and get that reward money.
Done and done.
Okay.
Listen, Stanislaw is building a team together. What we need to do is put all of our organizational backing behind Stanislaw right now. Because even though we didn't perform as well at the major, like we have a young talent in JBA. Like we can build something.
D, you continue to be useless. Charlie and I will use that reward money to pay off our electricity bill. Then we'll probably buy some more gasoline because I feel like that's a great plan. Wait, sorry.
The gas pedal.
No, I'm saying no. The brakes.
Cut Stanislaw. Cut Sonic. Cut Fozy. Cut Susp.
Guys, why aren't the brakes working?
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah!
What? Oh, God!
Oh my God! Christ, guys, I can't stop this van! Aboard!
Go!
Mastersfield steps up to the tee. 8 strokes behind the leader. Hole number 17, 338 yards, dogleg left.
I don't even know what to say anymore. But yeah, that wraps up everything that I wanted to talk about. I was yapping for a while, man. That is that episode especially is like one of my favorites. But yeah, this was a good yap sesh. Thank you to those who watched. I'm gonna upload this on my YouTube, so if you're watching from YouTube, yeah, 2-hour yap session, 2-hour solo pod, essentially. And now I got a playoff ESCA game that I gotta start preparing for. So yeah, I'm gonna upload this to my YouTube, and I want to do this every week because I have no one to talk about Pro CS with, so I may as well just put stuff out on the internet. So yeah, thank you for watching. Tune in again next week. I don't quite know. Let me see when this event ends. The 21st. Oh, so actually on the 22nd. Actually, no. It'll probably be the 23rd of September that I do another one of these, if I remember to do it by then. But I probably will. So, yeah. Yap sesh done. Peace.